I can do this.
Erev Tov, everyone. Have a good evening. I am joining you from Or Hadash Synagogue, and my name is Cheryl Burson. I am a member of the synagogue, and I'm lay leading. I've never done live stream, so here we go. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, la, lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, la, lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, la, lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Later on, we'll find out what song that nigun comes from. It's actually something from the Reconstructionist movement. Are you familiar with that person who's in the room, Rich?
Yes, I am.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, and I'm Rich, and I've also remember that it might be nice to, Cheryl, if I can just give you a little support, it might be nice to also say, if anybody would like to just put their names in, if they're joining us, put the names in the chat, then we'll know who is on YouTube, as well as Cheryl and I being here in the sanctuary.
Great. Thank you, Rich. Welcome to the Or Hadash service. And Rich, would you like to light the Shabbat candles? No. He's going to light the Shabbat candles for us. Go ahead. I have a box of matches there. Thank you.
Can I be seen?
Yeah, you can be seen. I set it up that way. Yeah, go ahead. Do the whole thing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvoto v'tzivanu lehavitnei shel Shabbat.
Amen. Todah Rabbah. That was very beautiful, Rich. Okay, if you have the Siddur, pardon me for I don't have the link. You may turn to page 13 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShoret, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bavachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Actually, I don't know how to look in the chat for the live stream. I'm just looking at the Zoom. So if I don't figure it out, I apologize if we don't see your message. Let's go to page 41 for Lecha Dodi, why don't we do the first two verses and the last two verses? So 41 and 42, and then the last two on 47. Ready? Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat the Kabbalat. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat the Kabbalat. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat the Kabbalat. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat the Kabbalat. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, hishmi anu el ham yichad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'letzi la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat the Kabbalat. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat the Kabbalat. Next page. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor habaracha, me'rosh mekedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene nekabbalah. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabbalah. Page 47. Yaminu smol tifroti, v'et Adonai tariti, ayarish ben parti, v'nismecha v'nagila la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabbalah. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabbalah. Let's rise if you're comfortable doing so. Bo'yi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzahala, toch emunei am segula. Bo'yi chala, bo'yi chala, lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabbalah. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabbalah. Reader's Kaddish on page, Chatzi Kaddish on page 55. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabbah, Yamad divrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yom echon, uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, v'agala v'agala, uv'izman kariv, v'yimeru, amen. Yeheshmei Rabbah Mevarach, Leolam Leomei Umaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar, V'yitrovman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitaleh, Shemei Dekudesha B'richu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, tamiran v'yalma v'yimeru. Amen. Hey, we're standing, so we'll stay up for the Baruch Hu, which is what that first song was. Did you know that, Rich? All right. This is how they do it at KI. They do it a few different ways, but this is very beautiful. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamivarach Hamivarach Baruch Adonai Hamivarach Leolam Leolam Va'ed. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due, now and forever. I won't keep doing the lilacs. Isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely.
So you hadn't heard that whole thing?
No, never before.
They also do As We Bless at the different Reformed synagogues, because right now I teach Hebrew school at 3 Reformed synagogues. Okay, Bavakasha Shabbat. Be seated if you would like. And we're ready for Shema. I think I'll use the tune that we use at the Hebrew schools for this too. Why not? Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 And we continue. We're on page 65 still with V'ahavta. On the page. V'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam liot al yodecha v'hayu l'totafot beinecha uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha. I'm thinking just to read the paragraph out loud because it's such a central theme in Judaism on page 64. And you must love the one, your God, with your whole heart, with every breath, with all you have. Take these words that I command you now to heart. Teach them intently to your children. Speak them when you sit inside your house or walk upon the road, when you lie down and when you rise, and bind them as a sign upon your hand, and keep them visible before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. And we will go ahead to the end, which is on page 73. Adonai Elohecha Mehmet. Next, the Micha Mocha, page 79. Just do the traditional one, right? Okie dokie. All right. Micha Mocha Veilim Adonai. Micha Mocha Nador Bakodesh. No Ratihilot Osei Fele Malchut Ra'u Vanecha Bokei Yam Lifnei Moshe Zeli Anu V'Yamru Adonai Yimloch Le'elam Va'ed V'ne'emar Ki Fadad Adonai Et Yaakov Ugulo Miyad Chazak Mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Kal Yisrael. Oh, we're singing right through the service, aren't we? Because we are up to everybody's favorite, Vishamru. Bevakasha lakum, if you so would like. Ready? Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם בינו ובין בני ישראל עד היא לעולם עד היא לעולם עד היא לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. Now, if you wonder why is it that we say those last words with such emphasis, Uvayom Hashvi'i, and on the seventh day, Shabbat Vayinafash, we rest and we refresh. We rest and we refresh. So frequently, when we sing it at Or Hadash, we sing it with some extra, like, what would you call it? Ruach, and sort of a little bit of a breathing, relaxing spirit, and like a sigh of relief. Shabbat v'yinafash, right? I think so. All right. Since we are already standing, we will turn to the Amidah. The Amidah means stand. Omeid means stand. It is the standing prayer. And on at night, we only do it silently because there are probably a lot of reasons, but the one I know is because originally the Amidah was put into the Jewish service in order to replace sacrifice when sacrifice was not performed anymore, and sacrifice was not performed at night. So even though, the Amidah became such a central part of the prayer service that the rabbis who put together the canon of service decided they had to keep the Amidah in the evening service, but the compromise, do it quietly instead of out loud, so it's not as sacrificial, I guess. All right, ready? We are from page 91 through 107, and we will meet up for the Oseh Shalom. And of course, which Oseh Shalom might we do? Please be seated if you would like. We'll do the Debbie Friedman fun one. Okay? Okie dokie. Oseh Shalom. Bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imaru amen. Aseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imaru amen. Fun, isn't it? Oh, are there comments?
Vivian King is with us.
Oh, hi, Vivian. Hi. Rich got the YouTube thing on his phone so we can see who's here. I'm happy you're here. Okay, let's go on to, guess what? Misha Berach, but I saw no list. I saw no list. So, Misha, do you want to go look on the Bima again?
There's nothing there?
Oh, right here. I didn't know to look there. Here, would you grab it? Thank you, Rich.
Absolutely.
I looked everywhere else except in front of the big computer
All right.
screen. All right. We are wishing a refuah shlema to Andrea Abrams Herbert, James Alberts, Roberta Archibald, David Ash, Arden Bell, Barry Bell, Carol Mueller Bell, Rabbi Deborah Bowen, Robin Kupo, Francesca Deaver, Faye Fishman, Marcy Fish, Joan Flaherty, Eric Gershman, Jonathan Giannini, George Glansberg, Gail Glansberg, Cordula Hamish, Peter Hoagland, Chava Hurley, Michelle Kalish, Sharon Cass, Moss Kaufman, Beverly and Howard Kaufman, Fran Kaufman, Richard Krassen, Elsie Lieberstein, Jonathan Loeb, Robert Mueller, Anthony Nero, Lisa Nicholson, Jennifer Pablo, Riley Pablo, Thomas Pablo, Stan Pollock, Abby Rosenberg, Mike Rosenberg, Shelley Sanders, Willie Schneer, Bertha Schwartz, Marlene Sortino. Let's see. There's some more. Lloyd Suter, Howard Temple, Lynn Van Engel, Brandy Wazileski, Stan Weckstein, Millie Wiseman, Grace Zangwill, Eileen Zeff. If you have any names you would like to put into the chat, Rich can read them. He will read them aloud. And I'm always overwhelmed by how many names we have from just the Or Chadash community, because we are a small community. However, we are a giving and caring and compassionate community, right? So that's why, we have so many names. Do you have names in there?
I don't see any names in the chat.
Okay.
But I will say Eric Griffin Shelley.
Okay, thank you. Are the words in here? I always mix up. Okay, ready? The Misha Beirach. Misha Beirach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Beirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Now we come to the Kiddush. In our Siddur, it is on page 119. Rich, you want to walk up there with me, or you don't want to stand? Okay, I'll do it myself. No problem. Sabrin Chabarai. Hi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. Shabbat kadshon Yahava'u ratzon hintilanu, zikaron ma'aseh b'reshit. Ki hu yom tehila lamikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim. Ki eleinu karata, yotanu kidashta, lavodatecha, v'shabbat kadecha. Yava uratzon hinchatanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat v'chayim. Okay, I didn't really put juice in here. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's virtual world. But I am going to take a sip of water because it's been a solo and duet, right, so far.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Let's see. We are up to a discussion. So here's the deal. I looked at the parsha and I thought, oh my gosh, Lech Lecha, that is the absolute best parsha in the world. I think Lech Lecha and Toldo, I think, are the best bar mitzvah parshiot. And there's so much in it that I said, I just don't know what to say. I just don't. So I'm going to start by reading a summary from this Teaching Torah book, and then we'll talk about a few points. And of course, sing a song. God tells Avram to leave his native land and go to a land which God will show him. God promises Avram that a special land will be set aside for him and his descendants, and that Avram will be the father of a great nation. Boy, is this the basis of our faith or what? Avram and his family, which included his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot, travel from Haran to Canaan. On his journeys in the land, Avram sets up an altar to God in Alon Moreh between Bethel and Ai. A famine in Canaan forces Avram to seek food in Egypt. Upon entering Egypt, Avram declares that Sarai is his sister, not his wife. She's then taken into Pharaoh's palace. Avram realizes good fortune from this deception, but God afflicts Pharaoh with plagues. Pharaoh realizes that Sarai is really Avram's wife. Pharaoh sends Avram, his wife, and their possessions out of Egypt. The Jews go out of Egypt more than once, I guess. Avram and his nephew Lot graze their flocks together, but the land will not support them both. Lot chooses to live on the plain of Jordan, while Avram remains in Canaan. During an intertribal war, Lot is carried away as a hostage. Avram and his men pursue the captives and free Lot, his possessions, and the rest of the prisoners. God appears to Avram and again promises him progeny and land. This covenant is confirmed when Avram brings sacrifices. That was before the Amidah, by the way. At this point, God foretells the Israelite bondage in Egypt. Sarai, who has not been able to bear children, gives her handmaid Hagar to Avram as a concubine. Hagar bears Ishmael. God repeats his covenant to Avram, but now requires Avram and all the males of his household to be circumcised as a sign of the covenant. God changes Avram's name to Avraham and Sarai's name to Sarah, adding a hey, which means for God, to both of their names. Now, the name thing, I knew this. I've always known this, but I think it's so interesting and relevant right now. Because right now, we tend to think, you have a name and your name that you're given is significant. It's significant to your parents. It becomes like kind of part of who you are. However, lately, especially in the transgender community and non-binary community, a lot of people change their names when they discover their true selves. And I never would have thought that this comes right from the Torah. It's like you go through a change in your life and you change a piece of who you are. Here it is, or you discover a piece of who you are, because here we can say Avram and Sarai, they became part of God's covenant. Perhaps they had that within them, within their souls all the time, and just found and discovered it, right? So, but they still are changing their names to symbolize either the change in themselves or the knowledge and the acknowledgement of that change. So that's like fascinating. So I am never going to think twice when someone tells me their name, and it may be different than the name I had heard before for that person, because you know what? That's the way it is. And the Parsha, Lech Lecha, it's all about going forth, and going forth to, here's a little paragraph from here also. Lech Lecha, the name of the portion, has been translated, interpreted in a variety of ways. Rashi interprets the phrase to mean Avram should get out for his own benefit, because there in the land to be shown to him, God will make him a great nation. Also, Avram should leave so that God may make Avram's character known throughout the world. Samson Raphael Hirsch felt that the phrase meant to go alone, to isolate oneself. In other words, Avram had to detach himself from his previous life, and his isolation accomplished this. So interesting. And you can think of these things like it was written in 2021, or at least 2020, maybe. And, I also saw that it said that in this portion, Avram is called an Ivri, the word Hebrew. The Hebrew people just started in this portion. Everything starts here. This really is the beginning. Rashi explains the term Ivri, which is the name for a Hebrew person or a Jew, by its root word. The letters are Ayin, Beit, Resh, meaning other. He translates the phrase as the one who came from the other side of the river. So it's so interesting that Ivri comes from this. It's like, as I read the English to it, I'm like, this, oh yeah, that too, that too, that too. So, of course, okay, here's something that I thought was really interesting regarding what I said before about names. I think it was better said in this book. Before Avram became a father of both a son and a people, his name and Sarai's names are changed. We know this. Everett Fox, I can't really read the name in my copy, in his commentary on Genesis, explains the significance of this. During the biblical era, a person's name reflected his or her character and future. Thus, receiving a new name meant a new phase in a person's life. That's so cool, isn't it? And this was written before recent times. Even this teaching Torah book, I've had it forever. Kings and popes still carry on this tradition, and we don't as much. Very interesting. So, of course, in that vein, we need to, of course, sing more Debbie Friedman. Of course, the song Lechi Lach comes right from our parasha. Okay, let's see. Do we have her ready? All right, Ms. Friedman, you ready? Okay, let's see. I have the words on here if you want to see it. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. you. To a place you do not know. Let me love. On your journey I will I can't remember my part. And you shall be a blessing. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing, Lechila. And all shall praise your name. Lechila, to the place that I will show you. Listen, Chayim. Listen, Chayim. Listen, Chayim. Lechila, go forth. Lechila, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechila, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing, Lechila. That goes on and on. I think that was half of the recording of the song, and I faded it out. So we say, go forth and be a blessing. I know that sometimes when a person retires or moves on to a different job, leaves something, a significant place in their lives, then the, or like a bar mitzvah, for example, bat mitzvah, this song is sung to that person. Go forth and be a blessing. And here's the thing, again, like sort of related to what we were saying before, you can say that lechilach means to go forward, go forth, right? But you can also say that it means like to kind of move forth internally, to understand who you are inside, which is kind of what we've been saying. Hi, we have more friends. Hi. Okay, we don't see you. Neither does YouTube land. They don't know you're here either. Okay, so let's move on to Aleinu on page 121. You may rise if you wish. Do you see if anyone's on there, Rich?
Nope, it's just
No? There may be people who don't want to put their names.
yeah,
Okay.
other people have, yep, but there may be.
Hmm?
There may be.
Okay, ready? Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tein gdula yetzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Turn the page. Wait, I've turned 2 pages. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Let's move on quietly to ourselves. Okay, make a vow. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו echad. You may be seated if you wish, however you're comfortable. So we have the Mourner's Kaddish, and we have a list. Okay, I was able to reach it. The Mourner's Kaddish will be on page 131. I am pre-turning my page. And I want to say first that that one of the names in the Misha Beirach list was a young man named John Loeb, who was a close friend of my cousin's, and he was in his mid to late 20s, and he actually did pass away, probably since the printing. Very sad. I believe it was of a cancer. Okay, so where do we have? Okay, so here we have the first of all, for the Shloshim period, we are remembering Phyllis Freemark, mother of Laura Metulis. I never knew how to say your last name, Laura. And of course, Dave Levinson. And the Yahrezites are Louis Kapnick, father of Shelley Kapnick Rosenberg, Thelma Mazur, aunt of Lynn Zangwell, Ruth Sayford, grandmother of Kim Wilson, Sylvia Ball, mother-in-law of Deborah Schaefer, Samuel Kripke, father of Cheryl Kripke Cohen, Ursula Shaw, grandmother of Joshua Jones, Ruth Kleiner, mother of Joy Pollock. Any other names of people for whom you are saying Kaddish, who you are remembering, or who you have lost recently, and you are and it's fine if you don't want to type the names in, hold them in your heart. So if you are in mourning or observing a Yahrzeit, or if you choose to rise in support of the mourners, whatever is your personal tradition, you may rise if you choose. Page 131. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yamru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam u'liomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei tekudsha v'yiku. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yama v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. My chair. Yaseh shalom v'romav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. May you be comforted, excuse me, in the, what's the phrase? What's the proper phrase? May you be comforted in the, I would say, within the community of mourners in Israel and of all people. We remember all the people who contributed to our lives, to the world, which is actually every single person, right? Exactly right. Okay, amen. So we are at a closing song. I chose on page 559. You're not at a Jewish service if you don't turn, right? If you don't skip a few hundred pages once in a while, just like all the thousands of years, right? Now, I think I remember this tune pretty well, okay? Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat tov lehodot ladonai Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Lahagid baboker chastecha, va'emunatecha baleilot, alei asar ve'alei nahavel. I got lost there. Alei higion bechi. No, oh well, went too long. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot ladonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. A psalm, a song for the day of Shabbat. It's good to offer thanks to the celestial, to sing out to your name supreme, to tell about your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness at night, on 10-stringed lyre and on flute with melodies conceived on harp. Well, we are very happy to have shared this Shabbat with you, albeit virtually. Of course, that's the way of the world right now, right? And what if we go out on the way we came in true cohesive fashion? Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Shabbat shalom and Shavua tov.